Hey besties, welcome to Besties We're Not From Here. This is episode 4, I believe we're on now. Oh my gosh. I took a little break for 4th of July. I actually forgot that just happened. But today we're going to be focusing on our Kundalini and just my experiences that I've had with it. Because I want to have some fun and talk about some damn magic today. Like, I'm so set for this. I'm so excited. And I've noticed that a lot of information hasn't readily been shared online, at least from what I could find. I just wanted somebody to share their experience so I could kind of base mine off of theirs. But literally all I kept finding was people like convulsively shaking everywhere and then just saying it's a personal experience. Like I couldn't find anyone to actually tell me about their experiences, what they felt, to a point that kind of matched with my own. And that was really confusing for me, at least. I had my first Kundalini experience before I even understood what a Kundalini was. And if you're kind of sitting over there like, I don't even know what a Kundalini is, don't worry. I'm still learning about it too, but I'm going to tell you at least what my experience was from it and how absolutely magical it was. Okay, so as I mentioned before, I had my spiritual awakening in 2022. At the beginning of 2023 was around the time when I started learning clairaudience. So how I explain my clairaudience journey for everyone is basically how, you know, on a brand new video game, when you start out, you get like skill points. You put it into like stealth or agility or strength or whatever. I just said put it all on clairaudience. Like that's it. That's all I wanted. I just wanted to hear spirit. I wanted to have conversations. I wanted to feel some type of connection. I did find the wonderful spiritual Sam. I don't know what her name is now on TikTok, but she just explained a lot of things as far as clairaudience went. So she had explained to set up yes and no's in your body. So I had a tingle going up my legs for a yes. So it's basically from ankle to my knee, or just below my knee would be a yes. And then no, it was so much fun. When I was setting up the no, I was like, okay, push my chest for no. I felt nothing. And in the setup, I kept trying to ask different ways and they weren't actually doing it. So something told me, well, maybe they don't actually want to touch like your chest to push in on you. Like maybe you'll think it's like a heart attack or something. I don't know. So I was like, okay, well, what about my arm? And I felt someone physically push me into the bed. Like I was just being held down when I finally asked for my no. So that was really cool. So that's how I spoke with my spirit guides when I first started off. I would just, I'd pick their brain. Like just imagine a 5-year-old finally learning how to communicate and just going, why is the sky blue? Why is the grass green? Why do flowers grow? What's this? That was me, okay? I had to find my joy and my creativity and my passion and my imagination, and we just had an absolute blast for it. Well, one of my spirit guides, I could tell it was him because he would go a little bit higher up my knees, like towards my knee whenever he was giving me yes, when he was done with me. Like, why are you asking these questions? You should already know. I don't want to give them to you. That was a whole thing. So one day we had just gotten off of a group meeting kind of thing with some friends that I had. And I noticed that I was talking to this guide, but he kept going up my knees. Like he went past my knees, and they've never done that before. So I was sitting there, I was like, this is a really weird experience right now. Like, why are you going up my leg? Like you're literally up my leg now. It was so freaking weird. The next thing I know, I feel an energy that is not me doing anything, moving around in my stomach. It felt like I was pregnant. When I tell you how terrified I was, this is me having just started out on the spiritual journey. I am an absolute baby right now at this point, okay? I was so terrified. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'm possessed, or some evil spirit has come into, because again, I really subscribed to the evilness of spirituality, that you could still be possessed, that all these things, like I was still down to the level that those things readily happen because I allowed them to happen, but whatever. So I jump up. I don't even have sage really at this point. I had a sage incense stick. So I have a sage incense stick in my hand at this point because I don't know what this is, and I'm terrified because I'm not moving the energy, but the energy is just swirling around in my stomach. Like I'd been pregnant before. I knew what that felt like. I felt pregnant. I was terrified. So I have the stick and I'm waving it around my room, and I'm just saying, "Be gone, evil spirit. You do not have jurisdiction here, and go in the name of Christ." Like, I had no idea what you even were supposed to say when you were trying to get rid of something. I went to bed absolutely terrified that night. I was so scared. I had no idea what was happening. I didn't really have anybody like essentially like above me, like a mentor or a guide to really help me with that. And it's at this point where this energy sort of short-circuited my yeses and my nos. To this day, I still can't do them because my energy feels sentient sometimes. And that's what this energy really felt like. So the next day, I'm looking up online. I'm checking up literally everything I can. I'm like, feeling like you're pregnant, spiritual, like, energy moving around on its own, spiritual, like, because I can't just say feeling like you're pregnant and put it in there for whatever health reasons, because they're going to come up and they're going to go, you should probably go see your doctor. I'm like, that's not what this is. It's not what this is. Like, they're going to look at me like I'm crazy. They're just, I don't want to be the psych ward. Thank you. So finally something tells me to look up like a snake moving around inside of me, because that's what it felt like. It literally felt like there was a serpent in my lower chakras, just vibing out, moving around, doing whatever they felt like. And that's when I came across the Kundalini. And it was the most confusing thing ever, having to look up a Kundalini, because no one explained it to how I was feeling it. And a lot of these people were constantly saying, oh, it's very personal to you. This is what happened with me. But I did get a book, and the one gentleman did recommend that it's supposed to rise up. It's supposed to like break out of your crown and like activate a yoke. I don't know. Okay. So I was like, you know what? We're going to mess around. We're going to do this because clearly this is the closest thing that I can find. It's not something to be worried about. Let's just have some fun. When I tell you, I spent probably about 3-4 hours doing this during one night. I'm not even joking with you. I had so much fun with this, okay? And so I was trying to show the energy how to wrap around essentially my chakras. And it took a little bit of push and pull, like working with the energy with them. But I'll never forget this, because I found out that I could move the energy around one chakra, and then I could have it connect the next and then move it around, and we kept going up. So I was part of the timeline, I guess you could say, where hearts were over, like in this kind of area. So again, baby spiritualist, okay? I moved the energy around here. It felt kind of weird to do that, but I was like, this is where your heart is, so wouldn't you just do it like that? And then I remember when I finally got it up to my crown, I saw bright white, and I felt everything shift into the center in me, and I just saw all my chakras light up white, and I just sat in that energy for a little bit, and I was trying to get it to go up. It didn't feel like going up whatsoever, so that was really annoying. So since I couldn't get this energy to physically, I thought it was supposed to like break out of your crown. Because again, I don't know what I'm doing. We're vibing, okay? And so I tried again. When I tried the second time around, this was when I was getting stills from movies, but they were my life. And it would be just a picture, but it was like a movie, and it would pause and then it would go away. And I'd remember, oh, that's this. And like, I'd have all the information about that picture, and then it would keep going on. And so again, I tried it a couple times. I never got it to where it first did that alignment for me. And then after that, it really never happened again like that. That was the most magical night that I've had so far with the Kundalini. It's almost like if you've ever done drugs before, how they always say that like you're always looking for your first high. Like that's kind of what my Kundalini felt like. So I kept looking into it, and no one ever explained it enough to where I felt like I knew what I was doing. And then again, I would see people online like doing yoga and going all to these Kundalini things where you activate your Kundalini, and they were convulsing. And no offense to you if you do that, but that wasn't my experience. Mine just kind of happened naturally. And no one really ever validated me throughout all that kind of stuff. So it was the weirdest feeling. It wasn't until this year that I found out one of the reasons why I think I didn't have a full ascension was because I only had one snake. So the Kundalini energy is your divine masculine and your divine feminine energy working together in tandem to rise up your spine to do something. People keep telling me what it's supposed to do, but it all changes depending on who the person that you're talking to is. So for me, I don't know what my Kundalini does yet. I feel like I have a very separate experience from what everyone else has had, but I wanted to speak on the magic that I felt and just the things that I've experienced doing it, because I know that other people have had these experiences too. And I guess I didn't want people to feel alone in their experiences just because it differs from what the textbooks say or what everyone's telling you doesn't invalidate your experience. And it didn't invalidate mine. And the reason why I wanted to talk about the Kundalini today was actually last night. So the first time I did it, I can't remember what direction I went for it. I think I remember trying to open them. So I was going this direction, but I was going like this. So last night, I got done reading a book. I just worked through a whole bunch of different stuff too. That's why this video is late. I had a really intense couple last days. And I went to go to sleep, and I was like, hey, Spirit, can you help me get down really fast? It's almost 1 a.m. Like, I want to go down. And they're like, no, you're going to be up for at least another hour. I was like, what are you talking about? And they're like, no, you're going to enjoy yourself. Don't worry. So it's like, okay. I went to go lay down, and I just felt dizziness up here. And so I'm of the mind, especially if I have a headache, I just have to sit there. And if I say I accept and just really soften my features with things and work through that energy, most of the time I'm not going to have a headache. It's just downloads or upgrades or whatever spiritual things Spirit is giving me. It's not actually a headache. It's just pressure from something you're essentially receiving. So I reminded myself with the dizziness. So I was like, okay, if we're doing this, just sit down, I receive, and then I breathe through it. And then I realized it was spinning this direction, but it was a spin. And it went here in the crown, it went to the third eye, and it went to the throat. When I got to the throat, I was like, I'm going to lay down on my back because I feel like I can receive this energy better if like my chest is open, like, again, we just do the things intuitively, hope they make sense later. So I did feel it in my heart, and I also felt it in my sacral. And so I was like, is this another like Kundalini thing or not? Or what are we doing? And Spirit was just like, no, like you were just doing some upgrades, but the Kundalini energy was helping you through those energies to kind of help block things because they can't ascend unless you clear out all the debris from those chakras. And I was like, oh, okay, got it. And then it led me to a really beautiful morning today. this morning I was sitting down with Spirit, and I had mentioned that since I have activated my feminine Kundalini, along with my masculine Kundalini, so I have both sides integrated now, I haven't gone through like a full circuit like I did in the past. And they were mentioning to me, so the two ones that I haven't activated essentially for my chakras, one is my solar plexus, the second is my root chakra. And I was like, okay, well, why aren't we activating those? What are we waiting for? You know, I want to understand what's happening with this. And they told me the most beautiful thing. And they said, they had my higher self, my spirit team, had me offline because they didn't want me to root or have my identity into anything that couldn't remain. So I have spent this past year working on all of my other chakras, making sure I'm getting rid of years of trauma. And they wanted to make sure that I was solid in who I was before they allowed me to root and identify as this new version of myself. And I'm in total agreement with it. I think it was the right call, and I was crying a lot because I was just really happy, and I was so thankful that Spirit had my back like that, you know, that I could have had a harder time and it could have been a lot different had they not done these things, you know. I would have had a lot more to heal. And I didn't, because they had the hindsight to make sure that I couldn't tap into my solar or my root chakra. Because again, if you don't know, solar plexus is your identity, yourself. It's who you are as a person. Your root is essentially your table. It is the whole foundation that you sit on. So if the rest of your chakras aren't sturdy, they're just going to crumble onto that table. Your foundation has nothing to even prop up, essentially. And likewise, if your root chakra is blocked off, it's not going to hold the rest of your chakras. They'll just cave in. And I've seen that a lot with the chakra work that I do on people, where people's chakras are bleeding in to one another because they don't have a solid base. So that does happen from time to time, but it's been a lot of fun. And I wanted to share my experience today because like I said, no one's really talking about a Kundalini rising, or at least their version. They might show a couple different things, but this version I haven't heard a lot about. And I haven't heard about a lot of people like playing like this like I do with their Kundalini energy. So I'm not entirely sure what it does. And it's also one of those things too, like I've heard so many different versions of it burst out of your crown and then it loops back, or sometimes it just loops back and stuff. And there's just so many different variations with it. And that's one thing I both love and hate about spirituality. I love that it's so open to interpretation. There's so many different avenues that you can take with it. But I also hate it because then I'm the one that's left going, okay, what do I do? Like, is there a cheat sheet? Do we have like a book somewhere that I can read that tells me like the steps? Please. Thank you. All right, besties. Well, thank you so much for tuning in this week and just listening to some of the magic that's existed in my life. I do, of course, have a lot of other stories about magic, and it's why I love being here. So I hope y'all have a fantastic day, and just remember, besties, we're not from here.